Hello and welcome to this video. My name's Barry Beckham. If you're a photographer who is serious enough to spend your money on a good camera such as an SLR, and you're using software such as Lightroom, Photoshop or any of the others, you really should be working with a graphics tablet and a pen, not a mouse. Now here you are listening to yet another so-called expert on YouTube or elsewhere who's telling you what you should or shouldn't be using in your photography. And if you followed all the advice on the internet, you'd have a lot of technical equipment around you. My point? You can find someone somewhere who will say, do and suggest almost anything if they thought there was some benefit or advantage to them. Am I right? By the way, I don't have any sponsorship whatsoever from any company at all. You can look at my images and my content, which spans well over 40 years, at least 25 of those with digital photography via a computer. I was scanning negatives and slides onto a computer before consumer digital cameras were around, or certainly ones you could afford. Why would I use a Wacom graphics tablet for over 25 years on every PC and laptop I've ever owned, and over the same time ditch the mouse completely if there wasn't some advantage to me? I'd have to be a bit of a clown to do something like that for no good reason. Now, some technical things in our photography we can describe as nice to have. A tablet, in my view, is essential, and many others think the same. So what evidence could I provide? Well, try this. Here I have a document open in Photoshop and I'm using a mouse and I'm going to try to sign my name. Oops, that didn't go very well, did it? My mouse is off to the right where it normally is. It looks rather childish, doesn't it? Now I've just picked up my graphics tablet pen and I'm going to do exactly the same thing. You can see instantly how I've got quite a degree of flow here, and I can sign my name without any difficulty at all. Now, if that little practical demonstration doesn't have you thinking perhaps I may have a point here, then I really don't know what else I can say. To deny the creative freedom a pen gives us is just perverse in modern photography. So what are the facts, the pros and the cons of these graphic tablets? Fact number 1. If you use a tablet for a week, maybe 2, you'll never go back to a mouse for your image editing. Fact number 2. A graphics tablet is more expensive than a mouse, but if we put a value on how they improve our image editing, and naturally our images, it's really no contest. Fact number 3. You can use a graphics tablet for image editing, writing and editing documents via Microsoft Word, for example, surfing the web, editing sound or videos, in fact, everything. The graphics tablet sits to the right or the left of our keyboard, depending on whether we're right or left-handed. And within its overall size is a drawing or an active area. Now that means that when we move the pen to the top left of the active area, it corresponds to the top left of our screen, and the same in any other position. Let's look at one or two pros. There's a rocker switch on the side of the pen that can be configured to do various things, but I've always kept this option simple. I rock the switch downwards and it's a right click. I rock it up and it's a double left click. Now this rocker switch falls nicely by our thumb as we hold the pen, so it's easy and fast to use. The pen contains no batteries, doesn't need charging, and it's not connected to the tablet via a cable in any way. It works through a tough nylon nib that, while that can be changed in a few seconds, for most users it'll probably never require changing. For all of the image editing tasks we're likely to want to do, like using brushes, making selections, dealing with superfine detail, it's all far more controllable with a graphics tablet and a pen than it ever is with a mouse. Now, I'm still on the pros here. The tablet will allow all sorts of options like pressure sensitivity. So if we press harder with the pen, the saturation, if we was using that tool on our brush, would add more colour. Or we can configure buttons on the pad to open various programs or carry out repetitive tasks. Now, I've ignored all of these nice to have extras, and I've only ever used the tablet and pen for its basic operation. Moving about the screen, double clicking to open a program, or right clicking to choose options, and of course my image editing. I don't even use pressure sensitivity. I prefer to use the adjustments in the software like opacity and flow. The pen doesn't have to be physically in touch with the graphics tablet surface to work, although when it is, you'll find it easier to use and control, just like a pen or a pencil. Let's take a look at one or two cons. If you investigate a Wacom tablet and pen, you'll find there's so many different versions and tablet sizes that it becomes very tricky to know exactly which one to choose. Some users say that the larger the tablet, the more resolution you have to work with, and your editing can be more detailed and accurate. Now, I don't agree with this because the bigger the tablet, the further you need to move your hand to get the cursor from one side of the screen to the other. I've always favoured a small size tablet with an active drawing area of 6 inches by 3.7 inches or thereabouts. I've found this size perfect for all my needs. If I need access to extra resolution, I just zoom in on the screen as far as I need. The graphics tablet will feel a little odd for the first week or so, but after that I can assure you you'll not go back to a mouse. Coming up are a few practical tips on using these tablets. One of the issues that I've mentioned a couple of times already is that when you first start using a graphics tablet, you're going to need maybe a week, 10 days, maybe 2 weeks maximum before you become entirely okay with the way it works, the operation of it. Here I can offer 1 or 2 tips which from experience I know will help. In the first few days of using a graphics tablet, there's going to be occasions when it feels a little odd, and that's simply because we've used a mouse for so long and old habits die hard. Here's what I've seen people do. When they have their first awkward moment with the pen, they push the graphics tablet away and they reach for the mouse. A little later, they drag the tablet back, but now not only is it not entirely straight in relation to the keyboard, but it's in a different position than before, and this doesn't help. So install your graphics tablet, but then unplug your mouse and put it away. If you've got some of that blue tack, that sticky substance we use to put things like calendars on the fridge door, put a little bit of that on each corner of your pad and put it down in a nice position where your hand can rest on the bench and also on the tablet. So don't place your tablet too near the edge of your worktop. Now you need to use the graphic tablet for as long as it takes and position your hand and arm just as you would with pen and paper. It won't be too long before you begin to get the feel for the graphics tablet. After all, it is just a pen. Keep the settings simple to start with. Just set the rocker switch and don't add to your burden by setting up every button option that the tablet offers. The Wacom tablets have always been faultless in my view, but in recent years, as Windows has developed their operating system for touchscreens, I've found that I often need to turn off Windows Ink, which is a program which is a part of Windows 10. In the preferences of my small A6 Wacom Intuos tablet, there is in fact a tick box in the software to do this. If I don't do it, I've experienced a few issues working in Adobe Camera Raw with menus failing to open. One or two other little issues as well. So to bring this video to a close, let me give you a practical demonstration of using the graphics tablet. At the moment my pen is quite a few millimeters from the surface of my pad, more or less in the center, and that's exactly where my pointer is. I'm working in Photoshop at the moment, so if I wanted to open an image, all I need to do is to go up to my File menu and I just touch the pen down on the pad and the file options open. I don't have to touch any of the buttons that I've described before. I can then go down to Open, and once again I don't have to touch a button. I just tap the pad once. There's the images. Now I can select one, but I will double click this to save going down to the Open button below, and it'll open up into Photoshop. Let's assume that I wanted to crop this image. If I go to my crop options here, I can just touch the pen to the pad down at the bottom right corner of my crop, hold, and all of the options will open up. In fact, I want the regular crop tool, so I'll select that. If I wanted to bring up the crop shape or the rule of thirds in the middle, I can bring my pen onto the picture and just tap once. There we have it. Now if I wanted to lose a little bit off the front, I can go to this edge, and as my mouse or my cursor goes just over that edge, I'm not physically touching the pad at the moment. I can just pick it up, just touch the surface, drag to the left, do the same at the top, and to commit the change I can go up to the little tick, and once again I just tap the pad. I don't have to use any of the buttons at all. If I were to bring my pointer down to the left hand side of the image, if I wanted to change the background color of my screen in Photoshop as an example, then I can just have my thumb over that rocker switch, just touch the down operation, and that's the equivalent of a right mouse click. So if I wanted to look at this image against black, I just tap the screen and there we have it. Right click again by hitting that down rocker switch just once, and I can go back and select my dark grey. To bring this video to a close, let's have a very quick summary. I'm currently using the small Intuos tablet, which I've shown on screen, and it meets all my needs, and I'm talking here of all my work on the computer. I don't have a mouse connected at all. I've never had any issues with a connection via a USB cable. So while this is a personal view of mine, I avoid Bluetooth or wireless tablets. Quite happy to plug it in. Don't be impatient. Compared to learning photography, Photoshop or Lightroom, the pen is a doddle. Do we use pressure sensitivity or not? Well, I think that's a personal choice. I choose not to, but why not start without it? And when you feel comfortable with the tablet and the pen, turn it on and try it. Work with what you find comfortable. That's the most important thing. We don't have to use every option these software makers create for us, because boy do they create some. Sometimes they're great, sometimes they just get in the way. If you're viewing on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you'll be informed whenever I put up a new video. You can download this video to your desktop from my website, and remember, I don't earn any money from anyone apart from some kind viewers who offer a small donation on my website. I'll see you next time.